now that the next Magic expansion, War of the Spark, has finally been released, I'm excited to start doing some more Magic content for YouTube. Also, as I've said before, my collection's not that great, so I was trying to build it up so I could get some more cards, do some more interesting deck building things, and while it's not perfect, it's getting there. So, I did have the stuff to build one of the decks that has been floating around and has been talked about for a while, ever since the new Ral Planeswalker was revealed, and this is one of the many iterations of the Ral Infinite Combo deck. Now, this particular list is actually one that was built for best of 3. It was for an event, and it ended up winning that event. Saffron Olive, a very well-known person in the Magic community, had tweeted this particular list out, so all credit goes to the original folks. This is not my list, if you will, but it's awesome, and I want to play it. And even though it's meant for best of 3, I'm gonna throw down some games on best of 1 just to see if we can get it off. But if you're not familiar, the Infinite Combo is kind of based around this Planeswalker, and specifically this Planeswalker says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Ral deals 1 damage to target opponent or Planeswalker. So the next step is you either find 2 expansions or you find 1 double cast and then your expansion, and you use them to keep copying themselves until the opponent is dead. So here with expansion, which is 1/2 of this double-sided card, you copy target instant or sorcery spell with a converted mana cost of 4 or less. So the idea is if you have Ral on the board and you have 2 expansions in hand, you just get any instant or sorcery, so we can use Opt or Shock in this particular list for 1 mana. And then you use an expansion to copy the first spell, and then you use the second expansion to copy the first expansion, and then you 1 by 1 let the second one resolve, which makes another expansion which copies the first one, and you kind of go in this loop, just forever copying expansion. But every time you make a copy, Ral does 1 damage to your opponent. So you just ping them to death. 1, 1, 1. The other way that you do it is Ral's -2 here says the next instant or sorcery spell that you play this turn, you copy it. So the idea is if you don't have 2 expansions, but you have 1 and you have a double cast, you can use the -2 to play a double cast. This will create 2 double casts, and then you let the first double cast resolve, so the second one's still in the stack, but the first one resolves, and you'll get 2 copies of the next thing you play. And then you play expansion, copying your first double cast, but because you've let the first one resolve, you get 2 copies of expansion, and then the second expansion will copy the first one that's on the stack, targeting your first double cast, and then you, again, 1 by 1, let the first expansion resolve, essentially just copying the other one. It sounds, if you're not used to playing Magic, it sounds really complicated, but I assure you it's not. So we're going to take this list, we're going to jump into some games, see if I can't pull off the combo. I'm a big fan of combo decks. Back when I played Magic far more often, they were my bread and butter. They're my favorite kind of deck to play, so even though this one is a bit cliche and a lot of people have been talking about it for a while, it's right up my alley. Especially red-blue combo. Like, I haven't been this excited for a deck since Dragonstorm was in Standard, so anyway, let's jump into some games and see how it does. Alright, jumping into a game. Let's hope we can find the combo. The one downside is that sometimes you just get people that concede before you get to the combo. So it would be nice if we could find that at some point. Let's see if they have the Spell Pierce. I think I'd rather go for this over the Augur. They do. Okay. It was kind of a tough call there. With only the blue coming down, a bit difficult to decide exactly what I was playing against quite yet. And I guess we'll take that. Interesting. Yeah, let's take this as well. Because at some point we're going to want to try to get rid of this. Now that we know we're up against the old mono blue. they're going to do a great job of trying to protect the Trickster. And we really needed a land right there, because I wanted to be able to Lightning Strike and then negate whatever their response was. We're going to attempt the opt here. And try to pass the turn. See if they have another Trickster or not. Because while we could have used Lightning Strike and negate, at least now we can block and attempt to shock. And then back it up with a negate. Alright, now that's a bit of an issue. So we'll see if we can get them to use their newly played Storm Tamer here. No, okay. We're fine with that trade, I think, overall. Okay. So they still have a bunch of cards. We still don't have anywhere near the combo pieces that we need. So we are, sadly, I think just playing defense a bit. Try to negate the dive down. Wow, they had it. All of that defense. Well, we have to scry, sadly, because we don't have enough to also play the other ones. So now we just need to hope that we can pull off the other stuff. The downside is they still have an awful lot of cards in their hand. So this is our one shot, realistically, here.
Better watch out. There's a storm.
Wait, cancel. We want this to resolve. Submit one. Now... Nope, cancel. We want this to resolve. We want the first double cast to resolve. So that resolves. I always mess this up. This is why I need to take the time. So now we do expansion here. And then we let that double cast, and now this one copies here. And we let that one resolve. And this one copies here. I can take the full control off now, if I remember correctly. So this always pings face. And you always copy this expansion. And I think my opponent has now figured out. I think my opponent finally had figured out, oh hey, wait a minute. I'm just gonna die if they keep this up. Well, so the bad news is they had the counter spell. The good news is, oh wow. They're just going face. Not even gonna get rid of the Ral. No respect. You got to see the combo anyway. So it is interruptible by counter spells. I kind of thought my opponent would have interrupted it much sooner if they had it. But you got to at least see.
Sorry, I just realized something totally unrelated.
You got to at least see the combo. So we'll lose this game and then we'll jump into another one and see if we can actually get a victory from it. But that is the infinite combo. But as you could see, it is interruptible by, you know, counter spells. All right, the hunt for the combo to successfully kill an opponent with it. This is okay. With our opponent going first, we're going to want to be kind of reactive. Being able to start with a mountain into a shock, into an augur, feels pretty important. Of course I say that and we immediately get hit with duress. Because, you know, discard. It's a thing. That means we'll for sure see, like, Island Thought Erasure after this. Let's be honest, that's the way that it always goes. And they took away our double cast. Which makes me a bit sad. Hey, look. Thought Erasure incoming. Oh, no. They're going to play Augur. I am shocked. Well, not actually shocked, but shocked, I tell you. Well, sadly, that means we show them that we have an expansion and they will now make us discard that one. It's like, no way, that's not what happens here. And we don't have any counter magic to protect ourselves. Even when we untap, no ionizes to back us up, no negates.
The mask is scary, but underneath, a mind is a terrific thing to waste.
It does appear that our opponent is playing a very discard heavy deck, and I think it's as good as making us discard it anyway, but just getting rid of that now makes an awful lot of sense. Our hand is not very good for this particular matchup, at least at the moment. Yeah, that's a big boy. We had no counter magic for it. So things that we need now. We need a Ral. We need Ral to to live after we play it. We need Rel to survive. We need them to have no discard, no counter spells. And then we need to find something cheap enough that we can go off. Let's let that resolve, I guess. There was actually a thought about copying it, but let's be honest with, oof. Them having got Eternal Kefnet here. I don't see us finding a path to victory here. We desperately needed an answer for this. Kefnet is a monster, an absolute house. I mean, many of the God Eternals are, but this is just a insane value engine on an insane body. And sadly, I just don't think... I mean, we'll try this, but I don't think we're going to end up ever getting the combo off this game. Not playing against a blue opponent that's also running discard. Everything about this feels bad. I mean, theoretically, again, if they have no discard and no counter spells, and Ral survives for a turn, we have the stuff for the combo, but they're gonna go find not one, but two cards they own from outside the game, which tells me they've got something nifty up their sleeve. So we're gonna play Ral now, while they're tapped out anyway.
Every problem has a solution. Let's start by taking you out of the equation. Guild Mage, Planeswalker, Genius Inventor. I got it all.
And then, like I said, we are just hoping that Ral survives. That's the trick. Players can't activate their loyalty abilities. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Alright. I think we actually might win right now. I think we just won. Because we don't need the loyalty ability. We just need the passive. So we want to hold full control here. And we want to submit this. And then we want to expand this, which will give us another trigger, and submit it. And then we want to expand on this one, submit it, which will give us another trigger. And then we resolve this. We resolve the first expansion, which lets us copy the second one. And here we can now, I think, pull off our full control. And as long as we're always copying this first expansion and then choosing them, we did it! They tapped out! We did it! Death by 1,000 paper cuts. Now remember, the trick is always to hit this actual expansion. And yeah, we did it! Hooray! I love combo decks.